la maison. Welcome to the panel conversation, Creative Technology for the Dance Community. My name is Valérie Poulin. I am the founder of Danse and I'm very excited to welcome everyone at the Dance Center in Vancouver, British Columbia. Alors, je vais redire en français. Mon nom est Valérie Poulin, je suis la fondatrice de Danse et je suis vraiment contente d'accueillir tout le monde à la maison au Dance Center à Vancouver, en Colombie-Britannique. So before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that we are located on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, including the territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nation. Alors aujourd'hui, le panel va se faire en anglais. J'adore ça parce qu'ils ne comprennent pas ce que je dis. Puisque la majorité de nos panélistes sont anglophones. Alors à la maison, si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez surtout pas à me contacter après le panel. Ça va me faire plaisir d'y répondre. So, I just explained that we're going to speak English.
I'm just in a French
Oh, that's going to be fun. So today we're all gathered here for a very special collaboration between Danse and FLOFEST. So powered by Hit the Floor, FlowFest is a new dance festival based out in Montreal that celebrates the art of dance and develops a lifelong learning culture. FlowFest is on a mission to inspire the artistic community and to provide collective space for all dancers to connect, share their passion, and express themselves. So the first time I heard about the FlowFest, I really wanted to include Danse because it really connected with us. At Danse, my team and I have been producing educational conference talks and as well as panels just like this one. So it made a lot of sense to connect with the team in Montreal and to include also the West Coast in the festival. So I absolutely believe that we are all stronger by working together. So on top of that, I wanted to also mention a little bit more about Danse. So Danse has been developing a mobile application to connect global dance communities online since the last month. So we've been working really hard. So our app will offer a tool to create an interactive dance portfolio, to develop your artistic network, to personalize your own dance calendar, and much more. So this is very exciting for the Bloom Squad and I, which is really why I absolutely wanted to have this topic today with you guys to discuss what's happening in technology and how to include this more in the dance community. I think it's super important to make it more accessible. So on the top of that, we also would like if at home you can join us in trying the Danse Bloom app before its official release date. So you can go on our website, dansebloom.com, to subscribe to our beta program. So what a beta program is, so you will be contacted in the coming months to try out the app first, and then you're going to give us feedback and we're going to make an amazing app, pretty much. So dansebloom.com if you want to become a beta user. See, this is new to me, I'm still learning.
You're doing good.
Okay, so here we are, fun time is starting. So without further ado, a word that I love to say, ado. Let's start this social distancing conversation. This is going to be very strange. And so as you can see, this is the microphone, just to make sure that you guys can hear us because we have to be a little bit more far away from one another. And yeah, we have to keep our socks on. Social distancing and socks on. So that's going to be great. Okay, so let's get started. So I first would like everyone to introduce themselves to the people watching at home. So tell us who you are, where are you from, your title, you can have many titles as well, and what are you currently working on? Very short introduction. So Eric, we're going to start with you.
I'm Eric. I'm a street dance artist. I represent Oral Collective, a street dance contemporary-based Vancouver company. Currently working on a interactive digital experience for my solo work called I. But yeah.
Amazing.
Cool.
My name is Colin Northway. I'm from Vancouver Island, and I'm working on the Museum of Other Realities, which is a virtual reality art museum.
And you're the co-founder?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm Robbert-Jan Brems, but in Canada they call me Rob. I'm from Belgium. For obvious reasons, they will not see my full name. So I have two titles. I'm a senior solutions technical artist for Unity Technologies, which is a very big technology company.
And then on the side, I'm also the technology advisor of Danse / developer for the mobile app.
Yeah, amazing. And we are allowed to sit next to each other at the moment. We share the same house, so it's fine. It's allowed. Okay, amazing. So, okay, just to get started, I would love to know, what is your earliest memory of technology?
I have a good answer for this. So, the first time I ever used a computer was, I don't know, I was a little kid, and my dad's office was starting to use computers and kind of early modems, like kind of internet technology. And so the first computer I ever saw was like a typewriter with a phone, like an old phone cradle on the end of it. And then to make it do anything, he put the phone cradle in like a box that would talk to his office. And then we could like play typing computer games on it. That was the first time I ever saw a computer.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy. My dad's an engineer, so he got us an early computer. I think it was 1997 Windows. And then he installed a emulator for Pokemon. That's what I was like.
That's a good start.
Yeah, indeed.
Actually, it might not be my earliest memory, but it's really my most profound. It's I didn't really had a computer when I was young. Actually, I had to save for it and go to Germany to get one. But I do remember my friend from my b-boy crew, breakdance crew. He actually went with me to a cyber bar to play a video game, Counter-Strike.
Oh, nice.
That's actually funny because I'm still not good at it. I actually wanted to become better at it by learning how to make games. So that's how I actually got an interest into making games. But spoiler alert, I'm still not better at playing games. I actually make more than I play. So that's funny.
See, for me, I think it's the noise in the phone when we were trying to just connect internet to the computer, right?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my god, yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I will say that's mine. Okay, so Eric, I would love to get started by also talking about your own project, because the reason why I really wanted to have you here today is because you are an emerging dancer that is really trying to figure out how to include technology in your own practice. And you're still super young, so it's great. So I would love to know, when did you first started using technology in your artistic practice for the first time?
I think the very first was Ego, where a film I did for Form Festival, which is a commissioning program here for emerging artists. And that was really the first time I was making a film for a digital purpose. So it was a different platform where dance is usually live, but you can make a video or a film and then people can see it. And that was a collaboration with a cinematographer, Alan Saber. So that was cool to collaborate with someone whose expertise is like in one field and then my field, and then trying to like merge them together.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was he's also a break dancer as well. So he kind of knew like, oh, this is what you need, and I'm like, oh, what do you need? And he knows what I needed. So it was cool. It was the first real experience, especially after pursuing dance as a career. So yeah.
bit more about form, because if people are watching at home and they are from Vancouver, they might have heard of it before, but on the East Coast maybe less. So can you tell us how you were able to have that commission work?
Yeah, so I really just found, one of my friends named Kevin Frazier, he kind of just at me on Facebook and he was like, you should apply for this. And then actually the person behind the camera, Sophia, she is the director of it. Yeah. Pretty much it's all from Canada-wide, you can apply. So I think they choose up to 3 commissions and you get, I forgot how much funding you get, but you get funding and credit to make a dance film, which is really crazy because there's not a lot of funding to make dance in general, and then something so specific like a film, like it was really nice to have that opportunity.
And it was a great way for you also to try new things, right?
Yeah.
And to make mistakes. And so talking maybe about mistakes or challenges, I would love to know what were some challenges that you faced that you really didn't expect or prepare for.
Yeah, as someone who's young, we just have this idealistic mindset where we're like, oh, we're gonna make this cool film and then forget all the planning, pre-production, things to look out for, mitigate risk, like all these little things, and then you just like, you're there on the studio and you're like, oh, we didn't get insurance, we gotta call for insurance, like little things like that you don't realize, but you learn on the spot, and then next time you're like, okay, let's plan for this. And it was a really good learning experience, and both of us, Alan and I, really just kind of like makeshift a lot of things on the spot, make decisions. So I think it was really good about learning other sides of making things rather than just the product. You need to do a lot of other things to create the final product. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of little things that you forget that add up to a big thing.
And so that's how I met you. I saw you on the big screen at Forum Festival. I was like, oh my God, who's that guy? And Rob was sitting next to me, and I told you already, but I was just like, in French we say bouche bée. Yeah. So yeah, and he was like, see, you like what I do now, even if it was not him. Yeah. But you know, the same style. Kind of, I mean,
he's better than me.
We should do a little battle.
I'm up to battling, but you know.
Maybe at the end, you know? Oh, that would be great. Okay. Getting ideas now. So I would love to know, are there any opportunity that came out of this project?
Yeah, opportunities came out like, well, Robert, you saw me on the street when I was going to work. And then you're like, oh, I did this cool thing with more. And then you're like, I thought you were selling me something. Like someone random on the street. And it was crazy. It was like, I knew I was across the street. And then you told me this idea, and then I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. I never heard of VR and dance put together, and I was really interested. I didn't really know. It was just kind of like, here's his email, and he'll message you and see what happens. And that came directly from the film. So that was really cool to find connection to something different, not just film, something else.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it's good that it was a good stranger, right?
Yeah. At first I was like, what do you want me? What? and then he started talking. I was like, oh.
Amazing.
I understand now.
Yeah. So it's funny because we start now to see what we have in common is that we all dance in your living room.
Right.
Yes.
So Colin, it brings me to you. So you're the co-founder of the Museum of Other Realities. And so can we first start by explaining what is VR, virtual reality?
Yeah, so VR is you stick a little TV on your head and then it puts you in a different place. So you can see in the Museum of Other Realities, it's you can imagine it as a kind of a traditional art museum. Like it's a place that you walk into and it's got walls and a floor, and as you move around there's different rooms with art pieces in them. You can't walk, like you can't physically walk because you're inside a real life space.
Yeah.
So we do a couple things where you can kind of point somewhere and then jump there, or you can kind of magically float through the space if you want to.
I love that.
And so in VR, in art gallery, you have all these huge possibilities that you don't have in a real art museum. And kind of the explosion of possibility space really includes dance. Like the possibilities to have an audience that's in VR. Yeah, I should mention the Museum of Other Realities is all multi-user.
Yeah.
So if you were in headset, if you three were in a headset and I was in a headset, then we could still have this conversation. We would be kind of in a virtual space instead of physical space. We'd see kind of an artistic rendition of a person instead of our actual faces. But we could still have this conversation, and we could still have an audience watch us.
Exactly.
And so the possibilities for Danse are really strong.
Yeah.
Because you can have an audience of all over the world, from everywhere, and a dancer who gets to, who gets to perform, not just for that audience, but the possibility of performance that brings all of these kind of digital possibilities, like the one we did has we're just like really scratching the surface.
Yeah.
But it gave Eric the ability to kind of like shoot fire out of his hands and change the lighting in the whole room.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And we had this kind of waving animation in the roof that Eric could control while he's dancing. You can integrate like not just your own body, but like the entire room and all these things that you could never do in real life.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation while dancing with people. That was like the weirdest thing to me, because normally when you perform, you're into yourself, and I was like, that's cool, I can just do my thing and just like get to know people. It was crazy.
And that's actually where I wanted to go, because Rob and I, we tried it maybe a couple of months before Eric tried it. So I see that you got the upgrade version. I wish we could all go back and change it all ourselves. I would love to do that. But it's interesting because for me, I was a bit scared at first because I'm a bit claustrophobic, and I was in a stranger apartment. But Rob was like, he's a very nice guy. So I was like, okay, let's go. Why not?
Yeah.
And I was surprised because I felt such a sense of connection with my body that I did not expect as like a first, VR person. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was extremely surprised, and I was dancing and looked in your living room, and I could not see you guys, and I found myself surprised also that I did not care. I did not care that you guys were there. I was just like, okay, this is great, and it was kind of very, very playful and new constraint and opportunity at the same time. And so Eric and Rob, you both dance in front of a live virtual audience in more, which I did not. Next slide. So can you tell us about your experience? Because it was people from all over the world, right?
Yeah.
It was artists from all over. So Rob, can you tell us maybe how did you first feel? Because you were the first one, and then...
Well, it's also my industry, so I knew what to expect with VR. But I had this real epiphany moment where, I have this whole background of dancing and teaching and performing and competing. And I really remember, you were talking about space before. I did the ribbon effect, so you could actually see where your hand movement or like the history of it. And when I was dancing, I was just doing my normal thing, like freestyling. But then I realized I actually was not doing what I normally tell people to do, is own your space. And I realized by seeing my history, it was like, wow, I should really move a bit. Even though it's a restricted area, I should really own my space and navigate every corner and shape possible. And that was like this aha moment. It was like, wow, I completely forgot about this. And look, my movement is so much more interesting. I adapt to the social, interaction, and it got so much more interesting. So I was completely captivated. And I had that moment, like you said, I was just, you're not random anymore. Like, we know each other, but it was like, this is sweet, this is really great. This is kind of like that moment where you can just do something completely different. And I still hold that memory, so, yeah.
And so, Eric, how did you feel?
Yeah, so I was able to do it, well, I guess 3 technical. So one was the beginning where it was kind of just a quick, almost as similar, like we did particle effects, I remember.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this? What's particle effect? Just so we can visualize.
Yeah, so particle effects are like if you could make snow come out of your hand, or like water. It's kind of like materials, or if you had fog in the air, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so nice.
Yeah, so I was the triggers, you were able to change it by maybe taking one trigger, a left trigger, or both at the same time. So we were able to make like 3 different triggers, and it was a really cool experience. I think dancing live in front of, first of all, meeting people in VR was trippy.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then like how they set it up, like the farther you go, you could hear like the fading away conversation. So it was really interesting dancing live in VR because it was just totally different.
Right.
And then we did a second time where we created a whole different, like whole room, an interactive room by the person who's on the stage. Had a lion's mask, changed the color, particles. Even when I moved, the particles moved where I went automatically. It was really crazy because it was like, in dance, there's like this box where you can't really change the wall
Right.
physically in real time. So my mind was like, they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. What is there? What is the possibility? And he's like, there's no roof to possibilities. And I was like, oh, show me some things that people have done. I'm like, oh, you can do that? And it was a lot of like going back and forth where it was like, oh, you can actually do this? And then they would try to figure out technically and the way they speak. I was like, oh, you could do it like that and that. And then I think the craziest part was just the possibilities of it. There's no limit. It's infinite. So that was crazy.
Except your own imagination, right?
Exactly.
And so maybe I just really like to rephrase because I can really much follow because I've experienced it myself. I feel it's really something we all need to have at home.
Yeah.
No pressure, don't know where it is now. But pretty much when you say, for you it was very special to meet people in VR, it means that you were here physically in Vancouver, you put the big goggle on, the little TV, as you say. I like this, it's true, it's like a little TV. And then you have people, for example, in Australia, also in their living room, and that have access to more and can just say, hey Eric, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And so visually you are a little like thing moving, right? Like a little body moving. So it's really, anyway, it's amazing. Okay, so I would like to know, because Colin, you kind of touched base, I feel now we understand, what is more. Why did you create that?
So I am actually from more of a games background. So small game, my wife and I make small games. And we got really into VR the first time we tried it, and we made an early VR game called Fantastic Contraption, and that did well for us, and it got me super psyched on VR. And then when I was playing stuff that people were making, kind of people experimenting in the world of virtual reality, the coolest stuff was this more like abstract art experiences, not really, less like game stuff and more experiential. But the problem with that stuff is it's kind of a pain to, like, alright, so I follow, Isaac Cohen on Twitter, and he tweets like, hey, I made this cool thing with like a GIF, and you have to like click on it and download it and then start your VR headset and load it up, and then it's like a 5-minute thing and you spent 5 minutes setting it up. So really what I figured we needed was some people are doing all this great, amazing work in VR. We just need a place that people can like go experience it.
Right.
So that's where the museum came from.
Because we've been talking about dance, but it's not just dance, right? There is painting. I remember walking in the fashion show. And being on the top of, I don't know.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Oh,
So it's really a real museum. But okay, I just want everyone to really understand. And so we also talk about how the dancer were feeling, giving a performance. How did you want the audience to feel looking at maybe more a dance performance? Did you think about it, or?
Well, yeah, I'm not. I don't have dance. I don't have any dance in my background.
Yeah.
It's really just that so for me, it was really just so obvious that dance and VR would work together so well. So I actually had very little. I mean, that's why we leaned on Eric so much for like, all right, Eric, how's it going to work? What are we going to do? You tell us.
Right.
Because we really, not having a dance background, we're confident that it would be awesome, that it will continue to be awesome. But I didn't know what to expect until I was there, and then I was like, I mean, we have monthly parties no more, or now it's a little less frequently, which I love and it's super fun. But this is definitely my best experience I've had in the museum was the night Eric did his dance performance. So
you love
I was
dance
really more.
now.
I was just an audience member for that.
Yes. So you love dance now. Is
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
what I'm
Yeah.
hearing? Okay. So I want to come back to the collaboration later on in the conversation because I think that's such an important topic to discuss further. Colin, I just want to know, is it open to the public now?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so,
you have to have a VR rig, which is.
I was going to say, Rob, let's go buy VR equipment now.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, okay, great. So, okay, I will come back to this later. Rob, let's talk to you. We're going to include you too. So I would like to know, because you do have a background in dance, and now you work in technology. So how did your background in dance bring you into a career in technology?
So, like I mentioned, before, my first memory was really because of my friends in breakdance that liked video games, and we went to a cyberbar. And once I was able to save myself some money to buy a computer, there was this whole community online with just access to knowledge and just sharing and collaborating. And then, I was, at the same time, I was growing as a dancer, being with my crew, we're traveling Europe and going to events and competing. But actually, an underlying experience that I had was, actually, I wasn't learning the way school was teaching me. It was very disconnected. I actually did 3 times my 5th year of high school because I was just a little bit, frowned upon, that they thought I was not smart in that way. But I actually learned everything from mathematics, from collaboration, from physics, you name it, through making video games. Because it was purely visual, it was through experimentation. And that's kind of where the 2 worlds collided. But it only came later where I realized, actually, I did a presentation in Germany about how breakdance taught me to be a technical artist. So actually what it means is how to be a better problem solver. And it's just, I learned so many things from dance. And the 2 main things that I realized is that first, collaboration, because my crew was very different. Every person was super different, which brought up a lot of interesting challenges. But on the other side, if you freestyle, you have to compete, you don't know, or maybe you know, but they have new moves, you always have to adapt. So you have a set of tools, a set of moves that you have, but it can be any kind of music. So adaptability and collaboration that I learned from dance very intensively became a huge part in making video games, and then much, much more because we use it now for many other things.
Right. Amazing. Great. And so right now you work for Unity Technology. So can you briefly tell us about this company?
So it exists, I don't even know anymore, is it 17, 19 years? It's, well, maybe, I don't know, you use Unity, yeah. It's very well known, like it started in Stockholm and it was really focused on, making video games. And that's the huge part, a lot of people that play games, a lot of times it is made with our tech. But since the last couple of years, we actually found out that a lot of other industries can benefit from this type of technology. Because anyone can grab Unity from the internet and start playing around with it. It's for free until you earn a certain amount and then you just have to pay for a license. But it gives you the chance to build something and then start making money from it. But now it's crazy where now my background of dance and background of making video games, I'm helping now other people in healthcare, especially with this virus going on. They all need to have this technology of augmented reality and virtual reality, you name it. And like automotive, architecture and engineering, and performance art. There's a lot of accelerated growth in performance art on how can we really give the right creative tools to creators and then enable them, because they don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's really all about just bringing it all together.
And so to maybe continue in that direction, why are there so many artists using this software? Because it's a software, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons. First of all, it's a great community. There's a lot of creators. The work speaks for itself. You see so much amazing work like on Twitter, and you wonder like how do they make this? So that's great. On the other, there is a lot of free resources, and it's accessible for anyone. Of course, any new learnings takes time, but there is so much diverse people using it that you can really easily collaborate. And also the tool is made with the user in mind. So it's made for designers, artists, programmers, for them to have a space to bring it all together.
Right. Everyone at home is still following because we're a bit more technical, but that's okay. We'll go back to creativity. But can you give us some examples of creative company, using Unity? So we do have more.
Yeah.
It's
more is a great example.
Is there a dance company that a dance project using it as well?
There is. I wish there was a lot more. I think there is more. There is companies that do like live artist performances, like singers that also go in VR or they stream it through your web browser. So there is a lot of initial use of it. Just not to say particular names, but it's being used with augmented reality to design stages and to be able to make choreographies and to place, digital people, but they're actually being recorded with certain hardware.
Yeah.
And then there's actually so much. There is a lot of experimentation.
And also Danse Bloom.
Danse Bloom. So actually, I'm using my knowledge to make an app for dancers worldwide to connect and have an interactive portfolio. And I'm really just using my knowledge from making games and then enabling artists and dancers.
And I thought what was interesting when we were discussing which software do we use, because right now we're just prototyping in Figma and I'm learning all about this. I'm having so much fun. But then you were also saying we have to think about the next 5-10 years, right?
Yeah. And again, like we speak, like my daily life is not the normal daily life of a lot of people. So I actually help people to look at the 5 to 10 year, especially with augmented reality that will be coming up very quickly. By using Unity, we can actually be ready for the future to enable these artists worldwide, and for them so they can focus on creation of great content and also, finding ways for them to get paid for it.
Right. And so we're not sponsored by Unity. We just like to talk about it and to share because there is 2% here using it. So, okay, I would like to jump into collaboration, which I was saying earlier is so important. So something that I think we do have to understand, it's interesting because I was having a conversation with Eric about this over the phone this week. When you talk about technology to artists, sometimes there's a fear associated to it. I don't know if you've seen that as well because you work with so many artists. And I think, because I've been questioning myself, where does this fear come from? Is it from just a lack of understanding the possibilities with technology? Is it because people feel that they don't have the skills yet to use it? And so I personally believe that, dancers don't have to become expert in technology to use it. I love it. Everyone's like, yes. And so I strongly believe that's one of my values, that collaborating with people with different skill set, then your own could be very beneficial as an artist for sure. And so, Eric, I would love to know, what did you learn from collaborating with technology companies such as More? And you are also part of Oro Collective, and I believe you collaborate with Tangible Interaction. Is it the type? Yeah? Okay. So can you tell us more, and with also Tangible Interaction?
Yeah, I think with More, I think everyone has their expertise, and I think the answer is you can. I mean, you could try to learn, and it might take you a long time, but I think you need other people, right? With tangible interactions, they don't deal with interactive stuff in digital, but in person digital interactive stuff. So like if you press a button in physical form, it'll like light up or something. But they really have their expertise, and whatever we wanted to show, they'll be like, oh yeah, we can do this. Exactly how we did it with more. So I think it's just a matter of trusting other people to do what they are good at, and then we do what we're good at. But as a dancer, I find that we also need to try to understand the other side as well to communicate. Like I remember the first time I downloaded Unity and started playing with the particles effect. Even with like tangible interactions, I started using Touch Designer and just working in that a little bit to like figure out if something goes wrong. I could like figure out like, okay, let's change that, and then it won't like mess up. But yeah, I think that's important too, to jump to the other side a little bit and see what they're coming from, so you better understand both ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So communication,
Mm-hmm.
maybe expectation also, what is being expected from one party, the other one. Yeah, Colin, I'm very interested to jump to you because that's one of the first things I thought when I first tried more. I was like, how did you recruit all these artists from around the world, to be a part of it? So I would love to know, what did you learn from collaborating with artists? Maybe good tips and things to be careful about. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, the Museum of Other Realities. I guess we're just like part of the community of artists working in VR, and so as that community grows, we grow with it. So we don't have like a super secret way of finding artists, or like we're actually still pretty informal. We should get more formal processes going. But I think for us working with artists, you always just have to put the time in, because people are always coming from their own experience set, and they're bringing an ocean of value of things that they are experienced with, and things that you can't come close to doing. So I think it's just important to like put in the work that you can. Yeah, I guess we have to put in the work so that other people can bring what they're doing to the fore.
Right.
So a lot of that is just kind of technical, just like screwing bolts and doing plumbing in the background and like making everything work. But it's still very exciting. I come from my background has always been more like making art than making the venue for art.
Right.
And so I had some worry that I was going to feel unexpressed, but that hasn't happened at all. Being part of other people's, being able to just be a part of other people doing exciting things, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've found totally as fulfilling as.
Yeah. I think what you just said, like, it's been the main takeaway that I learned is that whenever I do a collaboration, like also what you said with expectations, there needs to be a win-win situation. Right. It needs to be very much clarified. Even though there's uncertainty involved, you take it both together and you have fun with it.
Yeah. And that's the best stuff, right? It's like like neither of you are quite sure what you're doing. Yeah. But like that's because you're always pushing.
Yeah.
If no one really knows what they're doing. If you all know what you're doing, then you're how interesting could it be?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's risk you can recover from together and create something out of nothing while still using things that you know, but then pushing it. And I think, it should always be part of that conversation on like, okay, if we decide to do this is an investment on both sides. Do we have a win-win situation? Because you want something tangible to go further from. Because if it's not tangible, then you just don't make much progress. So that's definitely something I learned.
Amazing. Well, that was my question to you. Tips for successful collaboration. Win-win.
Well, definitely win-win. And successful collaboration is just, be okay to not know something. Because, technology is daunting because it's unlimited. There are so many things to do. So just, you come in and say, these are the things I don't know. And actually that's much better to know in advance, and also knowing, but I want to learn this. And even though it's very vague and you say, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'm ready to explore and doing the work, I think that type of vulnerability is priceless in collaboration. So that's been huge going forward because, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but you can get lost. So collaboration is definitely key.
Yeah, and I think it's much more than just in tech, right? Just collaboration in general, what it is. And I like that's what you say. Like just me recently, just with Flowfest, right? I was like, this is my expertise. Okay, we have to film because it's social distancing. We cannot be in Montreal. I have never done that. Okay, let me call Sophia and figure it out. You know, trying to see who has the right skills and just bring this together and to be okay. It won't be perfect because that was something you were telling me this week actually. You know, just it's okay. We're gonna make mistakes together. We're gonna figure this out, and it sometimes can be stressful, but it can be so rewarding at the end, right? So
it's the mistakes that makes it the most unique. I think so. It gives it an identity. And I really like that because it jumps out.
It's nice to start somewhere too. If you're not jumping to the top of the mountain the first time you do it. Like I still feel like that was like just the first step up the run. Like we still have so much farther.
Yeah, we learned so much. Like I remember, like it's also like win-win, and then sometimes it could be like triple win. Like I remember like when everyone went on the stage and started dancing.
Yeah,
and
that was crazy.
He would come out of VR and come to me, and he's like, "Yo, I'm sweating so much." And then everyone else was like, you could literally hear it in the mic, like, and then you get people that usually don't dance, dancing because they're so comfortable in their home. So like things like that was really cool, good insight, and that tail end might be able to like inspire the next collaboration. You'd be like, oh, let's focus on that.
Because you learn so much by doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be like, here's the perfect thing. We're gonna do the perfect thing.
We have to do this.
Yeah,
this has to be the end result.
This will be interesting and cool. Let's start there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's also a question of timing, right? What you're saying, like that people started dancing, they were feeling comfortable, but maybe the next time you want to recreate that, it won't happen.
That's true.
Right? It's really a question of timing. Okay, so I think we all agree that everyone here is very excited about technology. And so I would like to know what is the main reason why artists, dancers actually should start using tech in their own practice?
Yeah, I think for me, it's another way to express my creativity or my artistry. Like even in times like right now, like we as dancers, a lot of dancers can't perform right now in person, so we need to figure out different ways to communicate ideas. And as artists, like we need to adapt. We have to. So technology, it's coming. It's here. We're not back where there's no phones or there's no internet. So we have to adapt and to make change, make real change in art and dance. We need to use technology. I feel there's no other way. I think that's the biggest thing because there's no other way we can make art. I feel adapting, even if like we use interactive things in the physical form, that's still technology. That's a different way of communicating your message or your performance. So even that too, like exploring things in person, not in person, virtual reality. Yeah, I think it just adds to it, not subtract to it.
So I'm hearing that, at the moment what's happening within the art, not just dance, but it's just everything is accelerated, right? How do you say digitalization of dance? It's like you have no choice right now, right? It's there. So
for sure.
It can be scary.
Yeah, totally. I think as dancers we like our, sometimes not all dancers, I think, but we grow up to learn dance in a specific way, and it's always in live, and I think that'll never go away, and I think that's great. That'll always stay there, but to push it, I feel we need to go outside our comfort zone, really, and then collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What about you, Colin? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think that's very eloquently put. For my point of view, it's just that the possibility space is so kind of obvious and huge that we just have to explore it.
Yeah.
It just begs to be explored.
Yeah.
It feels like a playground for you, right?
Yeah.
You're such a dreamer.
Right. Well, I mean, it's so easy. Ideas just come to your head, and none of it's been tried yet. It's such an unexplored.
Right. So possibility.
Yeah.
What about you, Rob?
So I meet dreamers, and then I build out a plan, and I thought 3 different aspects come out of it. technology in dance, first of all, creation. Is it going to be physical technology? It's going to be digital technology. It's going to be a mix together. It really makes us reflect about the process of creation differently. And it can accelerate things that you are not so interested in, so you can focus on what really matters to you.
Right.
But that's one part, and it's huge. Just by that, it's there's so much to do. Then there is about monetization.
Right.
How can I actually, get a return of investment, which is what we like to say. If I make this dance performance, like how can I actually make a living out of it? How can I actually get out the resources to do this again, or also just give myself a salary? And there is a lot of things you can do from other industries that use the same tech. So it's super exciting. And then there is, you can either call it distribution or scalability, but I think more is an excellent example. You can access the world. Right now it's limited to who has the hardware,
right.
And you need to have internet access and a computer.
And also the money to buy it, right?
Exactly,
the
yeah.
Financial accessibility, right?
Absolutely.
But it's already possible right now to say, I make one dance performance, but I'm going to access 1 million people.
Right.
So just imagine you ask like $10 per ticket, you just made $10 million. Like it is possible, but it does take time. And it is like, I don't want to make it sound too great. Technology comes with challenges. Like
right.
Every solution has new problems, but the question is, can you live with those problems?
Right.
Because it's not a bad thing. It's just really brings it all together.
Yeah.
So for me, it's those three things, those three areas that I have seen, when enabling other people, whoever, it's always been either combined or one of the perspectives. But yeah.
And I like, actually, Eric, it brings me back to our conversation this week, because we talk forever over the phone. I feel we have so much to say. And you actually mentioned, it's like if dance can now become a painting that, can still be there. And I just found such a great imagery, right?
Yeah.
That it can still be there and still kind of make money in a way, right? The scalability potential of it.
Yeah, like our physical form is going to deteriorate eventually.
Yeah.
So there's going to come to a point where you're not going to be physically able to okay, I'm going to perform, teach, blah, 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 and then be everywhere. But that's another way. If you put something that's tangible in the virtual space, then it'll stay there forever, really. So that's going back to scalability. It's always there. You could run that performance. Let's say you made a performance. Run that performance 1 million times over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's just forever there, rather than you have to perform it 1 million times. That's not possible. So in that aspect, that's really, that changes the whole game, really, of dance.
I just read a very interesting story where someone sold a training but had an augmented reality experience on top of it.
Oh, wow.
So there is this cross-media collaboration that you could work with a mural festival, like a mural artist, and say, I would actually, want to have, if you use your phone and you look at the mural when you go in Vancouver, actually if you pay $5, you can actually see a performance coming out of the mural and placed with the environment in mind. It's already possible. But people do it in many types of art. So this is the other way around, because it's not so much scalable, but it's super unique, and people are ready to pay for that, because it's not because they don't dance they cannot enjoy it. It just makes it more accessible to them because they have a phone, they like to go for a walk to the mural festival, so why not combine them and give more of a platform for dance artists to also make a living?
Yeah, that's really cool.
So we're all going to contact the Mural Festival here in Montreal too to create more collaborations. Okay, so funny question. How do we make money with all these beautiful projects and idea? I feel it's always a question that we never talk about. It annoys me because I think we should just share more about this. So is it about, and Eric, I know you were like doing some research about what are the business model of, tech companies, which, because often, I mean, even more in Canada at the moment, there's a lot of grant available for digitalization of the art, but then you do need time to make mistakes, and it can take years before you actually are able to make it sustainable. So I'm just, sending this question your way. How can we make money as dancer using technology?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question. I think there's always this thing where dancers are not going to make a lot of money. We're actually very we do hustle a lot. So I think I'm in that space of like exploring different possibilities like tech, but I'm really still like, even for me, I'm still really based on grants and writing grants and hoping 6 months later you get the grant. And I think even for everywhere in Canada and probably in the world, that's the system that dancers are in. So that is really hard. I think hopefully there'll be a space, like you're saying, like eventually we can use our dance for different purposes so we can make money. Because that's important.
Yeah.
Because if you're not able to support yourself, you're not really able to dance anymore, because you have to learn something else so you can make money, or you get a side job and you're not really doing what you want to do. So I'm still in that space of figuring out, and I think collaborating and like learning from you guys and like just listening is like, oh, that's a cool idea, like the FLOFEST.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious to hear what like the model you guys doing, like what you guys do, and then how to like rework it for dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a big goal of the museum is to solve this problem, is to connect a popular audience with artists doing the work. So we pay all the artists who are in the more right now. I wish we could pay them more. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to pay them more. But so the way the museum works is it's just like a $20 to get in the door. And then unlike the Vancouver Art Gallery, you can walk in as many times as you want forever. But unlike Vancouver Art Gallery, we're open to the entire world. So yeah, we hope that we can continue to make it a successful, profitable business that we can pay back into the artists who do the work. That's a big goal of the museum.
And I think we feel it, you never told that to me.
Right.
Don't let you learn this. But I think we feel it in your intention as well.
Yeah, I think we try to be a very artist-forward museum.
Right, yeah. Because you're an artist yourself.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you have something to say?
Well, I just really put it out there, like, because we're also exploring, like, tech has a lot of costs, hosting, development, maintenance. There is a lot of truth behind it. I would really advise people to be inspired by what's happening in other industries, especially video games, like the freemium model. It's very interesting. People are okay with spending time on social media and Instagram and watch ads, but why not watch the same ads on a platform for dance? Like, you can do videos as a reward. If I watch 5 ads to get a ticket to a show, that's interesting, because you can get a revenue from ad watching. And you can also have, it's very scalable, because you don't really have to, you don't have to pay paper or whatever, something physical. And it's funny because from a lot of research that they do on games, they actually find out, people are okay with not paying for a game but watch ads. And it's already reality, because we use all these services for free and people forget there's a cost involved. So I think, we have to be very open about what's really the cost, because everything has a cost, nothing is for free. Then there is a lot of proven models that you can the components are there, the tech is there, just grab it, test it out, find out how it works, and through data you can see if it really helps, because looking at data means that it's tangible. But it doesn't mean you cannot just charge a flat fee and just use an online component okay, I'm just going to pay and then watch performance from my browser, or being able to navigate, or I'm going in VR, or just, the thing about Unity again is that it's multi-platform. You can make one experience, but then distribute it on many types of platforms. That's mind-blowing.
What do you mean when you say platform?
Platform? A lot of times the platform is defined by a type of hardware. So iOS, like your iPhone, is a platform, but even though there's many different devices, so it's a large platform.
Right.
Android phones, gaming consoles, your web browser is a platform. So imagine you could display your dance performance on all of these and ask an entry fee or consumption rate. What if I can actually, if I pay for a performance, I hope it's going to be good. But what if it's an emergent artist and you could actually pay for the amount of time that you watched it? That's a consumption-based model, which is also super interesting. So these things, they've been done before. Why not just grab them, experiment with it, and improve it through data, and then have these open conversations about, hey, how were your experiences? Does it work? I think there's a lot of great things out there. And again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just talk to someone who you think who has knowledge about that and be inspired.
Or email us.
Yeah, I'll be happy to talk.
Anyone here, right? I love it how everyone has such a different view, and Rob, you so so much knowledge. I just wanted to just say real quick, actually for me, when we were talking actually about the positivity of the reason why it's good to shift into also technology, for me that's really the main reason with Danse why we're not doing the app, because it was always event-based, the first 2 years, and you put your heart and soul into each event and then it's done. And then start again, and then you hope it's going to be better, more people will show up, and so on. And so what I found out with actually building an app is just, and that's new to me, I never did that before, that's not my background. My background is in dance and communication, but what I really love is you can build it and then improve it and then scale it. And so it's so great. You don't know where it's going to bring you, but I just like this feeling of, the work just is never end.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If I can, this is a known thing in software development. It used to be waterfall, where you plan everything, you spend a lot of money, and then you realize, okay, what we developed was not really what is solving the problem. What you're talking about is lean development. You organically grow and you readjust based on what type of feedback you get. And that is so much more valuable, but it also includes everyone, because we're developing something for the dancer. A lot of times it's not been done before. They're unrepresented in technology right now. So that's where our All Better program, it's a very nice way to be already part of something new in technology and to include yourself and give your feedback and to be heard. And it doesn't mean we're going to implement it, because we need to hear a lot of feedback and choose which battle we want to battle. But
Battle to battle.
Battle to battle. That's my breakdance, always battle to battle.
So it's been already an hour we talked, guys. That's crazy, right? Are we going to finish with a battle, maybe? Okay, anyway. Maybe. So thank you so much, Colin, Eric, and Rob, to accept, you have accepted my invitation so last minute. So thank you so much. Also for the people watching at home, if you have, if you want to get to know everyone more. So Eric, we follow you on Instagram, I guess.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram at squidget_.
Colin, you're a Twitter guy.
Yeah, Colin Northway at Twitter.
Or we check out some more.
Yeah, museumor.com.
Amazing. And Rob, you're on LinkedIn.
I like my LinkedIn. That's where I get my news from.
So we're going to write down your full name because it's a complicated name. But you're the only one. Robbert-Jan Brems. Amazing. And so, so for Danse, you've been talking about it, but we are recruiting for beta users, so check out dansebloom.com. En terminant, je veux aussi remercier Isabelle, Nicolas et Joël, donc l'équipe du Flowfest, de nous avoir permis de nous rassembler pendant la pandémie. Honnêtement, ça fait du bien de sortir de la maison. So I just say it was great to gather outside of home. Thank you, Flowfest. So make sure to subscribe to the social media of Flowfest, Hit the Floor, and Danse Bloom. Merci et à la prochaine.